The building shown here was reconstructed and modified on its left-hand side following a disastrous fire. It follows the established design language of the original building, but employs modern instead of traditional materials, concrete instead of stone, factory bricks instead of handmade ones, etc., all readily distinguished in the near view. It conforms with the 1964, 1975 and 1987 charters, but emphatically not with the 2005 memorandum. The best that can be said of this confusion is that it encourages debate. In my own part of the United Kingdom, the Scottish Borders, the local council has recently published a document called Place Making and Design Principles. The key word is principles. It does not provide prescriptive guidelines. Rather, it obliges the architect or designer of a project to think and to justify her or his design by going through a process of analysis against checklists. These demand examination of and responses to the wider area, its context and features, including natural features, the local area, its context and features, the building and the features that are appropriate to its neighbours, and finally, demonstration that the proposed design will make a positive contribution to its context. Keywords and phrases that appear throughout this document are relate, fit, work with existing features rather than against, consider the form, proportion and window design, seek inspiration from the best. This approach is proving successful in encouraging design solutions that accord with Cullen's prescription, the agreement to differ within a recognized tolerance of behavior. Here I'm just showing some examples which people may have different views about of modern interventions in Paris and in Chartres. The photograph on the right is historic Chartres, the photograph on the left is modern infill developments. Components of visual integrity. Now for a selection of illustrated examples of some of the many components of visual integrity at all scales, from the telescope to the microscope. Urban landscape, St. Petersburg. One of the key characteristics of that city's urban landscape is its horizontality and the relationship this reinforces between people and the city's streets, public spaces and parks, canals and riverbanks. The 403 Gazprom Tower would be totally alien to St. Petersburg. Urban roofscape, Bologna, Italy, Rothenburg ob der Tauber, Germany, Dubrovnik, Croatia. All of them have preserved their visual integrity through the roof materials. Public spaces and their functionality. I first visited Zamość in 1999 and again twice in 2007. On each occasion I have been surprised to be informed that historians and conservationists have opposed the reintroduction of traditional open-air markets into the three historic marketplaces, the main water and salt markets, on the premise that they would make the architecture look untidy. Additionally, in May 2007, I was told of a proposal to remove the then, and for all I know maybe still today, small market on land behind the synagogue and redevelop the land for housing. Personally, I'm a great believer in continuity of function in historic cities. To me, marketplaces are places for markets. In the main square of Versailles, for example, an open-air market is held every Wednesday and Saturday throughout the year. On market days, the stall holders are not allowed entry into the square until 6 o'clock in the morning. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the stalls have not only completely disappeared, but the entire square has been cleared, cleaned and hosed down. The untidiness lasts for precisely 8 hours on 2 days of the week. and meantime no other stalls, canopies, rain or sunshades or other intrusions are permitted. Both Zamość and Lublin suffer these intrusions in favor of today's cafe culture. These are semi-permanent intrusions which cannot, to me, be compared with the very short-term nature of functioning markets. The urban planning regulations in Dubrovnik date from 1272. Since then, they have strictly controlled building heights, building materials but not style, paint colors and advertising. Dubrovnik has a system of permitted signage which is organized by the city. It is modest, easy to follow and highly sensitive to the historic environment. It treats all businesses equally. None suffer, none offend their potential customers through brashness and ugliness. Personally, I am suspicious of the quality of businesses in historic cities that feel the need to attract customers through insensitive displays of advertising, and I do not patronize them. Additionally, Dubrovnik has a highly efficient refuse disposal system that avoids the need for any external bins of the type that clutter many historic cities in Europe, including, I'm afraid to say, my nearest World Heritage city, Edinburgh. In Dubrovnik, commercial and residential collections take place early every morning, 7 days a week, and no refuse storage is allowed in the public realm. Architectural expression, good manners and freedom, examples that I've already shown of I.M. Pei's Louvre Pyramid, the Grand Arch of La Défense, and a new corner building in the Marais Quarter. Streetscape. Significant Romanian government financial support to facade and roofscape improvements was provided to the city of Sibiu in the build-up to European Capital of Culture 2007, and the city itself carried out major refurbishment of the hard landscape, also in traffic management and pedestrianisation. Public art can make a significant creative visual contribution, as well as being informative about events and people in the city's history and life. From high life figures such as Napoleon, an inveterate military tourist across much of Europe, to low-life characters both in Bratislava, and individuals real and fictional in St. Petersburg and Budapest. And in Dundee, Scotland, cartoon characters made famous by the local publishing house of D.C. Thompson, publisher of the Beano and Dandy, and penguins associated with exploration of the Antarctica from the port of Dundee in the early 1900s. Street furniture, benches, lighting, signage, bins, etc. can also make an important creative, visual as well as functional contribution to a historic city. Again, the manufacturing port city of Dundee in Scotland. Locally distinctive architectural details are also important, together with the craft skills and supply and demand balance to ensure their survival, maintenance, replication and continuing availability. Enforcement or culture of compliance. However good the guidance, laws and regulations, enforcement requires more human resources than any city can normally justify and is rarely recoverable in penalties. The management plan for the City of Bath World Heritage Site, for example, has the overarching ambition to insinuate heritage values into every aspect of urban management and to harness citizens' sense of common ownership of a culture of excellence in which good practice in the historic environment becomes the norm.